This is the muscle up workout. It's one of the staples of our strength training at Pacific Rim Athletics. And I'm gonna show you not only how to get it, but also 3 secret strategies for getting to that level. Plus the magic number that works for everyone. The reason why muscle ups are so important is because it is full range strength of the shoulder joint. But not only that, but also mobility. It is not a skill as some would suggest, but rather flexibility, strength, and mobility combined. It is also the entryway into more advanced strength and skill, such as seen in the circle element of Powerbatics on the aerial straps with roll-ups, or ninja strength with back roll muscle ups and more advanced pressing like handstand push-ups and handstands in the rings. It is also necessary for a broad array of sports, from martial arts to free running with skills like cat hangs. Though a lot of people say it's a skill or it's unnecessary, in reality it's actually proper shoulder strength and function. Even if a person isn't there yet, working towards it is monumentally advantageous. The muscle up workout consists of 5 rounds with 0 rest in between. This is always done after a full body total joint preparation warm-up, where our students have already gone through mobility, splits, handstands from all angles, legs, ankles, and wrists. Strength training should also go before skills for beginners, and it should come after skills training for advanced students. That's a good principle to remember. Strength before skills for beginners, and skills before strength for advanced. Typically, people will give up or give in way too early, or not believe in themselves to be able to progress through the levels of this, or they mistake videos for instruction. If you don't make these mistakes, you'll constantly make progress. Beginners and kids will start with sets of 20 to 50 rows, followed by 20 to 50 push-ups. Depending on level, we might increase or decrease reps. We might also increase or decrease the level of strength. For example, rows could be done with legs hanging over a bar, or it could be done with feet on the floor. There's thousands of different progression types. Same thing for push-ups. Could be using a box for push-ups, or on the knees, or something in between, but always feet pointed, clean form. But lots of people will get stuck here at the rowing and push-up phase for years, even decades. They think, well, maybe it just isn't for me. Maybe I'll never be that strong. Maybe the ship has sailed. And then they never get to the pull-ups and dips phase. And they'll never get muscle ups or experience going beyond them. This is overcome by a lot of different elements of training. But more importantly, it's overcome by mindset. Some people just overtrain and they're constantly sore and injured. Some undertrain and blame others, as some just stay stuck mentally, dwelling on the negative in all areas of life, which transfers back over to their physical training. Chronic joint pain in the wrists and shoulders, etc., etc. Other things could be that it takes tweaking nutrition, or sleep is poor because of lifestyle. Or you know what? People just aren't working hard enough. This is when a person hasn't entered into that zone of real training yet. The zone we call. This is that brutal work of going past what you think is possible. I can think of times when I didn't work hard enough, or worked way too hard, or didn't focus on the positive. We can't think we'll get to the goal line if our mind never even gets to the starting line. I could think of hitting goals like handstands above rings, and it felt amazing after all the work. Or seeing the same process for students like Spring getting her first muscle up, or online students getting their first pull-ups and dips, or kids at the facility getting above the bar. But these are blunt truths that are not often discussed, and they're very difficult to implement. Yet that's the cost of attaining anything worth anything in life. Now, once we've been rowing and doing push-ups for a while, we want to get people off the floor as quick as possible. High volume training at super high reps builds at least a foundation of strength to move on from, and then to the phase that might be called regular training. This should be pull-ups and dips. Rep ranges will vary quite a bit here, as well as all the angles of the pull-ups and the dips. You want to be able to pull and push from all angles and have that omnidirectional strength. This is where the art and science of coaching comes into play. Sometimes it just might be singles followed by additional rows and push-ups for supplemental work. Other times it might be down the ladder for reps. Maybe your first set started with 20 reps of pull-ups and dips. Then fourth set is 15 and 15. Then third set is 10 and 10. Then second set is 5 and 5. And finally, you can barely hang on the bar for just 1 rep. That's also very good work. There's way more training than just pull-ups and dips or pulling and pushing. This military youth academy I worked with did hundreds of push-ups per day and hundreds of pull-ups per day. They were stout, strong, and they were a blast to work with, and they were super focused, but they were also extremely tight, like injury zone tight. They couldn't do many other aspects of training because of overdoing a good thing. CrossFit is exactly the same. 25 to 75% injury rates is routinely overdoing what would be positive things in other contexts, but dozens or hundreds of the same movement across weeks, months, and years is 100% 100% guaranteed to bring out the onset of chronic and catastrophic injuries such as bicep tears, slap tears, shoulder tears, tennis elbow, carpal tunnel, and on and on. And these injuries might not even happen in the gym, but out in real life where you least expect it, which is a huge factor for what comes into play for Powerbatics training. The thesis is to train level by level to achieve higher and higher level skills by way of strength and flexibility being 3 times more than you need, as opposed to 3 times less, which is what often happens across the spectrum of fitness and sports. And then stacking variety through kata training on top of that. Pull-ups, dips, and even muscle-up are part of all that. The reason why is twofold. Number one, injuries occur in the transitions and daily life, not usually in reps, although they do happen there in catastrophic ways. Number two, dexterity, which to be fair would require a full video, if not a whole series. But I've seen so many fitness buffs, gym rats, crossfitters, and even pretty advanced gymnasts who had limited coordination and dexterity when it came to things as simple as just maneuverability in omnidirections, which again is real life. For example, being able to twist and roll off axis, have the body control to properly punch or kick, etc., etc. I remember this one time when I was a youth pastor. We were in this flag football tournament, and this guy caught a pass right in front of me, juked to one direction, then cut to the other, and I was already about to dive when I switched directions on takeoff, and it resulted in a butterfly twist, and I grabbed his flag. It was really cool to see in real time the effects of training transfer over in a subconscious way to a completely different area of life. And all of that to say, yes, pull-ups and dips, 5 rounds, up to 20 reps for the muscle-up workout, but don't think that's the end-all be-all. You need shoulder mobility, band work, core, and so much more. So allow yourself room in your training and your mind to be adaptable and flexible and constantly open to new strategies, habits, and life choices. Now, once a student has 20 pull-ups and 20 dips, I found that that's the magic number for attaining the muscle-up. Your first muscle-up will be crap, and probably so will the following weeks or months of muscle-ups for you. That's okay, it will get better. There's no magic ring position or hand position, just a false grip and chalk. That's it. What people will do is get stuck in this area with their first one and then lose it and then try it again, and rather than it being a milestone that they achieve, it's rather a constant barrier they keep hitting their head against. This is why interdisciplinary training is so important, to be able to work on other things as well as not overtraining, because you'll quickly see regression. Folks will routinely go back to 5x20 pull-ups and dips and overtrain themselves into injury, and this happens in all areas of training, not just the muscle up work. And then they're surprised they can't do the muscle up they did 2 weeks ago. The reason is they fail to understand that at this level of strength, it is simultaneously a brand new skill, while at the same time their threshold of maximal strength. For example, it would be equivalent to a person who had never bench pressed getting under the bar with 275 pounds. It's going to be a mess if they do have the strength to push it up. The muscle up is a brand new skill, compound movement of the shoulder, and maximum strength threshold. So this is where a person might train single with 5 minutes rest in between each for a few weeks, and then start scaling up from there. Eventually, muscle ups will just be basics, the same as press handstands and V-stands and single leg squats and flares, but it requires a completely different mentality regarding physical training than has been pumped through pyramid scheme media in the last several decades. It's what's worked for me anyway, and how we've been able to help countless students achieve muscle ups at every age, every level, and every injury history. Just like Che in her late 40s or Venny in his 50s after rotator cuff surgeries and many other joint issues. The other path, on the other hand, just leads to monotonous, unsustainable, rigid training paradigms that routinely leave people stuck, frustrated, hurt, and sick of it. And then other areas of their life start to feel it too, which is the exact opposite of our goals for Pacific Rim Athletics and Powerbatics training. This is completely about sustainability long term. So subscribe so you don't miss any of the trainings all of our top students receive. And opt in so you can get access to me and my team, PDFs, email trainings, future videos, and even secret events like competition and travel, like one coming up in Spain. You can also find us on TikTok, Facebook, and Instagram, where we have short form content. And you can connect on Twitter, where I'm working on some underground projects. The next videos coming up are designed to help you, and I'll see you in training soon.